All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we will be diving into the crypto gaming markets today. As we're seeing over the 7 days, still pretty red across the board and a little bit of an uptrend over the last 24 hours. But this show isn't really going to be centered around tokens. This isn't going to be centered around anything of that matter. What we're going to be talking about today is I really want to go into the adoption that we're seeing from the financial side of things, from institutions, from the mainstream players, and not only the institutional side of things, but with gaming and what we are seeing coming into the space, the forecast of the market for the metaverse in the future, which Citibank sees up to a $13 trillion opportunity, and some stats behind blockchain gaming versus the entirety of the gaming industry that I think proves in itself that adoption is on the way, and these trends will prove that in this edition. So without further ado, let's get in the game.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you gon' play, but ain't a percent. If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you gon' play, but ain't a play. If you get lost, show you the way.
All right, and let's dive right into it. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel for videos here every single day on the Crypto Banter channel. Also, shout out to our sponsors, Animoca Brands, the leading gaming VC, and I would say gaming platform in all of Web3 gaming. MEXC, the official exchange of the In the Game show as well. If you are looking for another alternative for altcoins, metaverse gaming altcoins, no KYC, US friendly, you can hit the link down below to get involved with MEXC, as well as Unix, one of the leading GameFi infrastructures in all of Web3 gaming. So let's go ahead and get right into it, as the market, like I said, is not our primary focus today. I really want to talk about and elaborate on the fact, I know last night's show, Miles on the channel, he was elaborating on, he posted a tweet asking people what their narratives were in 5 years and what those will play out. What will be the big narratives in 5 years? I responded to that. And I said, I really think that it's going to be crypto gaming and metaverse. And he elaborated that he feels the same way and that timeline could be realistic. And it really got me to thinking, when you look at the entire gaming industry and the funding, that just the amount of money and adoption that is coming in from the top level, right? We might not be seeing right now, we might not be seeing Activision or Riot Games or Epic Games like making blockchain games, right? Epic Game Stores launching blockchain games with allowing like projects like Grit, Imposters, and Blankos, for example, to launch on their platform, which are Web3 friendly. But we're seeing the top level, the financing, the VCs, the funds, they are definitely showing the massive interest in this industry. And I think that will be a trickle down effect over time as we see more adoption coming into the space. And just yesterday on the 23rd, Ready Player Me and Andreessen Horowitz announced a $56 million Series B in this climate, right? So as we go down here, they are really just really going forward with this, led by A16Z Game Fund 1, which recently had a big acquisition of Chen as well onto their team from YouTube Gaming, with participation from Plural, as well as the co-founder of Roblox, Justin Kahn, co-founder of Twitch, co-founders of Fractal. We have the D'Amelio family, Kevin Hart's Heartbeat Venture. There's a lot of different people, behind this. And when you look at the adoption coming in with this amount of capital, it makes you scratch your head. And just a few weeks ago, we saw Gunzilla, games raise 46 million to redefine the battle royale genre. And I'm a big fan of Gunzilla. I love everything they're doing as well as Ready Player Me. When you look inside of their platform, I think that these are both fantastic protocols. And when you and like upcoming projects, when you look at that, that's $100 million raised right there between those two projects. So it makes you scratch your head and take a step back and wonder, what does this fit into the normal gaming landscape? So you go and do some digging and you're like, what are the VC trends in gaming, right? So we went here, we're on VC Cafe is the source here. There's a lot of different VC trends on Metaverse and how it compares to VCs of the actual gaming industry, right? Well, you have gaming and then you have Metaverse and then blockchain gaming, as they would categorize it on VC Cafe. So first and foremost, the forecasted market size of the metaverse over the next decade. We have some of the massive financial brands and institutions, Morgan Stanley thinking, and Goldman Sachs at an $8 trillion projected valuation. We have Citibank with a $13 trillion projected valuation. And as we go down here, we see that actually on the funding side of things, guys, this is insane. Over half of the financing deals in gaming alone, in all of gaming, over half the financing deals in gaming went to blockchain gaming companies in the first half of 2022. Private blockchain and NFT gaming companies raised more than $2.5 billion in Q2 alone, with over half of that total amount raised by early stage companies. And it is making up 52% of the unique active wallets, nearly 1.1 million unique active wallets in Q2. So this has the potential to change economics of the industry, as it says here on VC Cafe. So, VCs definitely see this trend evolving. And we heard with Ryan Wyatt last week about how he said he's seeing some of the best talent in some of these studios and developers across the board leaving big studios, whether it's the Activisions, the Riot Games, etc. down the line, all the big studios in the games. He's seeing them flocking to Web3 gaming. And I think that, the VCs, we are seeing this clear as day, that this industry is, I would treat it like a seed at the moment, right? Just last year, it was kind of put into the ground and rushed to front. They tried to nourish it too quickly, right? And not give it the full life cycle. And we had like the first Gen 1 generation of games like Axie Infinity, Pegaxes, Krabata. And then we had like DeFi Kingdoms, gamified DeFi, a lot of different swings on different games over the time. And I think Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4 gaming, which they'll all evolve, right? Games will get better. The development curve behind this in the next 3 to 5 years, this money will have materialized into a lot of product in the space, right? These VCs aren't just giving money away so they can rug pull. They're not giving this money away so they can do nothing with it and they can get rug pulled. Like these VCs, for the most part, I'm not speaking for Three Arrows Capital or anything here, but I do believe that, these big funds that are plowing the way forward in crypto gaming, I do believe there's a lot of smart money behind this, and it's no surprise that people like Ryan Wyatt, people like Robbie Ferguson with Immutable X, we have Chen with YouTube Gaming, who just joined A16Z with Games Fund 1, which we just saw raise $56 million Series B with Ready Player Me. So there's just so much going on, so many major players coming to the space. And then it's not just those with $500 million fund, boom, Immutable X, $5 billion going into NFT expansion efforts earlier this year from Gala Games. We have Polygon Studios just this week, another $25 million fund led by Polygon. All this leads me to believe is in the next 12 to 36 months, we're going to potentially, and beyond that, I think for your timeline for AAA level, Call of Duty level type of games, that has to be way down the line, 5-year timeline potentially. But between the next, let's just call it 6 and 36 months, so about half a year to 3-year timeline, we're going to see so much materialize from all of this funding coming in the space. And when you look at just the average and how much financing is dominating blockchain gaming right now, I think that they all see the opportunity of this industry coming into fruition. Same thing, like, the same way that NFTs came in to the limelight, and the same way that I think NFTs' biggest utilities at this very moment in time, the most bulletproof integration of an NFT in anything across the blockchain is a game, is a skin, is a weapon, a camouflage, an ability, different NFTs that you own that you can equip on your character or that you can use inside of games. That just makes so much sense. It is true ownership. So I think it all fits together. And I think the smart money is definitely showing you that they think the same way. A couple notes here. Some tokens that, we have been keeping an eye on, especially on this dip. As far as the market goes, guys, right now I'm sitting on my hands still. I am not going to be too reactive as far as what we're seeing in the market. I think that we could still go, south from here. I don't think that the pain is necessarily over. And even if we got some sort of short-term reversal back up to relieve some of the pain that we just saw over the last week, right, with Ethereum down 10%, Solana down 13%, a lot of these, mid-cap protocols down 15% or more. So there could be a slight bounce back in the market. I'm not buying yet. I don't think this is the time to be re-entering necessarily. If you are looking for those, really value buys, I think that you just kind of wait it out, keep accumulating, those stables. If you have DCAs set, obviously, if you have a really long-term approach on your top protocols, obviously let those accumulate. I think that's a fantastic strategy. If you're going with super quality protocols, definitely don't be DCAing in these climates into $2 million market caps, right? Nobody is a financial advisor, but I would not recommend that in this type of a climate. I think that if you're DCAing into like anything like an automatic recurring buy, make sure it's definitely very top quality, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, that type of stuff, and make sure that you have a long-term horizon on that stuff. That money should not be stuff that you need to pull out, anytime soon. If you are doing that as far as a DCA mechanism, otherwise keep accumulating stables, guys. Be ready, have your watch list at the top and have your quality projects ready. I know I say it all the time, but this is going to be your golden resource during the time periods whenever you are deploying capital, because you will have your quality. And as you trickle down into the lower market caps, you'll have those different segments of coins, the high caps, mid caps, low caps, and you'll be able to distribute into some positions and, get those positions at comfortable prices whenever the market does get to those levels where we deem it, it's time to accumulate. And I think we're going to get there. Patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue here. So don't be acting too, emotionally. Definitely watch the market play out for now. I don't think this is the climate to be sticking your money into it with the uncertainties surrounding a lot of things in the market. But regarding Polygon, definitely probably number one on my list, near number one on my list as far as what I'm, underneath those Bitcoins and Ethereums, underneath those protocols. Polygon has to be my number one that I am looking to accumulate. It has taken like a 20% dip since the Disney news. It got up above $1, 20% dip here on Polygon after the Disney news. So much catalyst for Polygon. Even Ryan Wyatt tweeted today that there's more to come over the next couple of months before the end of the year. So that'll be interesting to see. I'm definitely looking for better prices on Polygon, and they might have just gotten kind of like a Steam incubation type of platform coming to Polygon from Terra. So on the interview last week, he mentioned how a lot of the Luna ecosystem is actually coming over to Polygon and starting to, branch that we're building on Luna, games on Luna. And, they all of a sudden Luna just goes, obviously we all know what happened there. And, they're joining Polygon now. So I love this with Star Terra becoming GameSwift. And what they're doing here, they're going to be kind of a home for games and developers and studios to be able to potentially launch their games into the Web3 space without hassle. And when you look at that, it's like a toolbox for these games. And that's what I'm most bullish on is, protocols. And I'll do a lot more due diligence. This is not something that I'm actively pursuing investment in. This is just newsworthy, as far as, the space, because what we're seeing here is projects like this, like Ultra, like Gala, like Vulcan Forged. What they will eventually be are the toolkits that these mainstream gaming studios that eventually want to enter the space potentially need to incubate their games, right? With Web3. A development studio, a game, they should just have to worry about building a quality game. Projects like these, they're actually able to come in and do that for a Web 2 game that could potentially just be like, look, we have a game that's out, but we know nothing about Web 3. We know nothing about how to integrate it into the NFT realm. So if you actually bring in a, full-fledged system to automate that for games, I think that's definitely worthwhile. So this will be coming to Polygon. So it'll be intriguing to see if this plays a role in the Polygon ecosystem. And then one last thing, obviously, we'll always keep our eyes out on the top quality tokens as well before we mark up, before we go into the end of the show here, like Gala, Ultra, Vulcan Forged. And I think we're starting to see pretty tempting prices. But like I said, with my thesis, I'm not ready to deploy capital yet. And if I was to deploy capital, it would have to be in those top quality projects that I have a longer term horizon on. Definitely not a part of my short term portfolio or anything for a short term trade. So always be cautious. I think the market's very volatile at this time. But good to see Polygon continuing to make partnerships. Gala Games playtest next week with the Walking Dead games, going to be amazing to see. Immutable X as well. They have so much, around the corner with the games launching on their platform. And I might just hint that later this week, we might have a special guest join us on the show. Wink, wink. That'll be my hint. And they might just be from IMX. I'll leave you with that. And Ultra, obviously, with their unique marketplace launching here in just a couple of days, that'll be interesting. So a lot of catalyst and a lot of money going into this space, guys. So I think if you are building a portfolio, before I wrap up the show, if you're building a portfolio, I think that when even if you are not full blown blockchain gaming, like maximalists, so to speak, I think metaverse and gaming belongs in almost every single portfolio at this point, based on the exterior factors that we are seeing, such as industry stats saying that over half of finance in all of gaming right now is coming into Web3 games. I think that this will eventually play out in a really, really good fashion for anyone who does get involved in the trenches in this industry in these times. The games who are not really built for the future and built to last, they have really weeded themselves out with this bear market. And the games and the projects, the protocols, the incubators that come out on the other side, those are going to be the massive winners. So always keep your eyes between the lines. I think this was the between the lines show for me, because when you actually look at, wow, these tokens are so down, we're in a bear market. But if you're looking at the exterior factors, and if you're just sticking to the game plan, stacking up your stable coins, maybe DCAing into those top protocols, etc., but you're seeing these trends play out, I think that your thesis on blockchain gaming, my thesis on blockchain gaming, becoming one of the biggest industries in crypto. And then as far as the metaverse goes, these financial institutions believe in the entire world. I think we are in the right spot, and you are definitely early in this industry. And then we saw Phantom Galaxies, last thing on the show today, announce their episode 4 for their it's basically like it's like the alpha beta version of the game. And this is one of the best games playable right now on the blockchain. I believe that the NFT that you have to buy, it's on the Polygon, and it's on the Polygon blockchain. It's literally like a couple dollars to play this game. It is AAA level. I really love everything that the Phantom Galaxies team has done with this, from Blowfish Studios, Animoca Brands. Like I said, the gameplay is super smooth. It feels like a console PC game that's been in the works for a long time. So I would definitely recommend checking this out if you are a fan of, outer space, mech style combat games, and adventure. There's a lot going on within the Phantom Galaxies game. And one of those games right now that gives you a sliver and a taste of what a lot of the games will feel like in the future when more polished and AAA games hit the space. So without further ado, we're going to get out of here for today's show. If you got value out of today's edition, let me know in the comments down below, and like the video. I'll go into the comments over the next couple hours and answer a few comments as well. Subscribe to the channel for shows here every single day on Crypto Banter. I will be back here on Friday, as I mentioned, to close out the week with a massive interview on the show. So as always, play well, my friends.